Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the Stroke Group Networks conference. My name's Doug. I'm the Wellbeing Development Lead for the Stroke Association. I'm also a mindfulness teacher, and I'm going to talk you through a short mindful energizer this morning. So what is mindfulness? So when we talk about mindfulness, we mean coming off autopilot and noticing this moment, what's actually happening in this moment right now for us. And we can practice mindfulness of absolutely anything. So we don't need to sit on the floor cross-legged and focus on our breath. This morning, I'm going to invite you to be mindful of movement, which is something I find really sets me up for the day, makes me feel quite energized. But it's important to say that we're not going into this aiming or expecting to feel in any particular way. So if you feel energized by this, you can simply notice that. If you feel something else, you can notice that as well. Lots of people talk about feeling relaxed, but there are different kinds of relaxation. So there's sort of floppy relaxation. Then there's an awake relaxation. And often we describe mindfulness as being like falling awake. Okay, so that's what we're about today. So I'm going to invite you first of all just to find a space where perhaps you can stretch out a little bit, if that's possible for you. You can mute, switch your cameras off, and make sure that you feel comfortable. We're using the language of invitation here. This is all an invitation. So doing whatever feels comfortable and safe for you, erring on the side of caution. One attitude that we can bring to any kind of mindfulness practice is non-striving. So a lot of exercise is quite goal-orientated. So we might be pushing ourselves to do one more length of the pool, or one more repetition, one more stretch. And we can get quite competitive with ourselves. And that's okay. But for the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so, we're practicing something different. So rather than focusing on the doing, we're going to take things really, really slowly so that we can focus on the being. And so our body and our minds are going to be moving and working together. So if we found a space, we can just begin by being still and just coming into the body. Perhaps just noticing how you're sitting right now. Noticing if there's any part of the body that wants to move. Noticing in particular where you're in contact with the floor in your seat. A sense of being supported and still. We might not be used to noticing the body so much. Or on the other hand, if we're living with a lot of pain and discomfort, there might be one part of the body that occupies quite a lot of our attention. So if we're noticing any tension or discomfort, we've got options. We can move if that feels like it would be helpful. Or alternatively, we can just notice that mindfully, curiously. And it might be that if we allow ourselves to do that, there might be different things that we're noticing at the same time. It might be that that sense of discomfort evolves over time a little bit. So we're listening to the body without trying to push things too far. Okay. So the invitation then is just to begin with some really small movements. So we can start with our hands. So just slowly, gently moving the hands. Forming fists. And releasing. And just noticing how that feels in your hands. Noticing the sensations in the skin. We can move the fingers. And seeing if we can slow this down by 10% or so. There's no rush to get on to the next thing. We're noticing any warmth or coldness. The airflow over our skin as we move. The energy in our muscles. Noticing what's happening with our breath. Okay. So we can do some arm movements now. And for this you can be seated or standing, whatever feels safe and comfortable for you. So I'm going to stand up. And just noticing, if you're standing, the sequence of standing, noticing what groups of muscles are working together to help us stand, noticing how our body takes our weight, how we balance. Okay, so just taking one arm, either arm, and lifting that. Perhaps just holding that stretch to sort of the edge of where we feel comfortable, but certainly without stepping over that edge. Erring on the side of caution, what feels safe and comfortable for us. And if you're unable to do these with both sides, you can just do what you're able to do, or repeat with one side. Just resting in the body in between these movements, and maybe taking a couple of breaths. And seeing if we can notice that intention to move forming before we move. And notice how our muscles prepare themselves for movement. Okay, so I'm going to bring the palms out to the front now. And around to the sides. And relax and rest. And we'll do that one again. And some shoulder rolls now. So whichever direction you like. Just taking this really slowly. And then changing direction. Noticing as we do this, if we're using any muscles that we don't need to use. And can we just soften the muscles in the jaw, the face, and taking a breath. Moving the head. Just noticing how it feels if our body is responding to what we ask it to do. As we maybe don't appreciate day to day the things that our body is capable of. Just taking a breath. Moving the muscles in the trunk. Perhaps just shifting the weight of our body from one foot to the other and back again. We're able. Just swaying the body. You can bend the knees if that feels okay for you. Feeling the flow of air over the skin as we move. And if you're able, you can start to take some steps. So either just stepping on the spot, if you've got a bit of space, you can walk up and down in a lane. And so we're not trying to get anywhere here. How often do we notice the sensations of walking? Often we're walking to get to the next thing, next important thing. And this is where we are, right here, right now, walking. Being with the sensations of walking. And then seeing if we can just slow that down by 10% or so. And in your own time, coming to a stop. And then carefully coming back to a seated posture. Noticing how that feels as we do that. And just coming back into the body. Checking in with the body. Noticing any areas where we feel a bit of energy. Areas where there's some fatigue. Noticing our contact with the ground, with the seat. And just taking a breath. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. So that brings us about to the end of this session. We're going to have a 5-minute break before we're starting again at 10. Give you a chance to grab a brew, do whatever you need to do. If you like this session, there's some 5-minute exercise videos called Move to Your Mood and Freedom to Move, which are in the talk information section, which should be at the bottom of your screen. I've done them. They're great. There's Gok1 and Bill Bailey are involved in those, and yeah, they're lots of fun, very gentle, very relaxed. There's also a bonus wellbeing session in the talk information with myself and Mike Lynch, who's a support group volunteer, and we're talking about things that group volunteers can do to look after themselves and their well-being. So all that remains is for me to say, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the conference, and I hope to see you soon.
I can feel my heart rate gone up. It's working. Hi everyone, it's Gok here. Now, whatever your energy levels,
I'm feeling relaxed.
Energized, baby.
Looking forward to being boosted.
whatever is your mood, this is Tai Chi. It's amazing. Can you feel that working, Mark?
I can.
Oh yeah, now we're going. Whatever long-term health condition you might be managing right now, it's super important for us to move our bodies. God, that does work, Sandra. But what's more important is that we listen to our bodies and we find a movement that suits us. Why don't you check out one of our routines? We're just having our own little party over here that we've designed for you to help you move to your mood.